get going. So,
Okay.
all right. Well, we are officially live. So, hello, hello. If anybody is out there and you want to let us know where you're watching from, I'm going to give it just a few moments to do kind of formal introductions. But let's see if some people show up here. So let us know if you're out there watching. I know there's at least two people fly on the wall, and you can be a fly on the wall. We don't mind that at all. So anyway, while people are coming on, before I introduce you, Mellie, I'm going to say who I am. That way we get them on. So when I introduce you, they know who you are. So this is the Intuitive Messenger channel. My name is Mitchell Osborn, psychic medium, tarot card reader, animal communicator, all that good fun stuff. But tonight, what we are doing here, and there's some people coming on, what we're doing here tonight is we are going to be unboxing. I have purposely, and it's been very difficult for me to not open this up, and I have been so good and I wanted to so badly to play with this, but once I knew I was having you on, I waited. This is the Ostinato Oracle, and it is how many cards? 32 card music inspired oracle deck by you, Mellie Parkway. So everybody, this is, I'm going to do some applause. You won't be able to hear it, but this is, there's
Hi,
an
I'm
applause,
Mellie.
there's an applause button. So Mellie, first of all, thank you for being here. And like I said, we kind of briefly chatted and I said, I have to gush over this deck before I let you start talking too much. So where are you, first of all, calling from? Let everybody know, if you want to, what part of the world you're in.
Yeah, well, I just moved from Nashville, Tennessee to the Minneapolis area.
Oh, nice. So you went from not too cold to potentially very cold, or at least,
Yes, yeah, I went from a very hot southern summer to a rather interestingly calm and not hot summer. So we'll see how I do come winter.
whew,
I'm not familiar with snow, so we'll see. But yes, I left Music City, which I think is a unique and interesting tie-in for this deck, to be
yes.
here in Minneapolis, which I mean, Prince was here, so
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
music is alive here.
So let me gush, and then I'm going to let you tell a little bit of history because we're getting some people. First of all, it arrived in this beautiful satin bag. I say satin, it may not be, but I don't know. It's satin to me. And then the deck, you can see the size of my hand. This gorgeous black deck, the or box with the deck inside, the Ostinato Oracle deck, and by you, beautiful gold. I'm going to say gold. It may be more of like a brownish tan, but it's just gorgeous. And then inside, there's a wonderful little envelope. And this is a little keepsake. So this is a guitar pick, right?
Yes, yeah.
So, and it's got the Ostinato Oracle on that. And then there is a quick reference guidebook. Again, just beautifully put together. The colors, I love this O, which for me has a lot of kind of like, I believe, is it the Asian Chinese, like the circle, I forget what it's called. It's like a circle.
I know what you're talking about, and yet my mind is blanking.
That's
But
okay.
yes,
That's okay. It probably means it's probably just the O for that. But this is a quick reference guide to the 32 cards. And I'm just going to kind of give wet their whistle. And then I truly want to talk about, I mean, literally like every card. Because, I'm not going to put you to the test because I got the quick reference guide. But so the back of the cards, gorgeous. The side of the cards, gorgeous. The front of the cards, absolutely gorgeous. And as you can see, this is, am I saying it right? Stave?
yes, yeah.
And then that is a musical term. I did play an instrument gazillions of years ago. I know what flat is. um, Forte, I can't remember if it's like bold or robust. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
That's exactly right.
as you're unfolding this deck on Instagram, I'm looking at the signs and the connections, and then you're giving like little tidbits, little, like it's more than a quick reference. It's more of the details of what the card would mean, like the interpretations from the creator. And my heart just fluttered. I mean, let's talk about it. It was just so beautiful. So I know. So, and I know we talked about you. You're like, I don't like the gushing, but this deck, this is what I pictured. when I think about this deck and I thought about tonight, if we were live in person and this was on camera, I would want us sitting in front of a grand piano with red roses on top and tan furniture with black trim matching the deck and just having this conversation in a very elegant style.
I
Because
love this visual. I'm
that's
gonna
what
go
this
there
that's what this
mentally.
deck reminds me of. So I'm going to shut up because people didn't come here to listen to me. They came in and listened to you. Hey, Gerald. So let's see. The circle means spirit, but I don't know the actual name. Oh, okay, so it's like the spirit. I think it's the circle spirit.
Okay.
So, Mellie, take it away. Tell me where this came from, how you got it, what do you read, all that good stuff. And I'm just going to do this.
Okay. We'll see. So let's start with where it came from. I guess like most of my answers, I am a Gemini, so I have many words and many ways I can come about and go
Oh my,
about things.
I am attracting so many Geminis in my life right now.
Well, here's another one. You're a Pisces, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I was back in September, I had an astrological reading with the lovely Nina Davis. So shout out to Nina. I love you. ShekinahDavis.com. Just a little plug for Nina. But
Yay.
and just had a had a little talk
Especially if she
through
had
some
something to do with this deck.
yeah. So and just talking through, things that were, I guess a short story is ways to blend my strong music background and passions and love and that connection to music and my present love and my tarot practice. And I do tarot readings. So I just remember leaving the call thinking, I don't know how I'm supposed to bring those things together, but it's supposed to happen. And then in the moment that I decided, you know what, I'm going to just stop trying because this is ridiculous. I'm trying to forge something that is not possible. And then, of course, like most things, the second you release it, it is then given to you. So, this vision for an oracle deck that incorporates music and musical terms and how those things are really seen throughout life. For me, like music is life. I love music. And just the way we can see music playing out in different conversations and
Yeah.
relationships and experiences.
And I've never
Uh,
seen anything like this at all. So, did you encounter any of that at all?
it's such a funny question because I didn't ever, I remember like quickly Googling like music oracle to make sure it wasn't out there. And it wasn't, which it seemed very clear to me how it
Cool.
would, like, for example, you held up forte, like loud. Okay, so how can I embrace forte in my life? How can I be bold? How can I be strong and loud when I need to speak up? Where am I speaking up and I'm being too loud when I need to step back and let someone else speak up? So I think a lot in musical terms, and so I that's how it all kind of came to be. It just seemed like a natural flow of something that needed to be, and so now it is. And so
And
now
you
we're
know,
here.
it's funny. It's funny because I am the type of person who, if I were going to create a deck, I probably would not go looking to see if someone's already done it because I know sure as well if someone did do something even similar, I might go, oh well, never mind. And but the part of me that wants to say, you know what, I've got a baby in me and it needs to be born. Why do I
Yeah,
care if other people have given birth to babies before? So
yeah.
I love that. And like I said, just you, and I think probably why I can gush so easily is because I'm seeing you talk about it and like, Forte, where can I be louder? And just as you speak, for me, I feel like the passion that you have for music and for reading and divination and oracles, and it's like it's coming out of you, and I think it seems to be very pure, very pure. And by the way, hey Scott, Scott says hello to you and also to Gerald.
Hi,
So
Scott.
Scott of Scorpio Moon. So do you read professionally or just for friends, family, and stuff like that? What's your reading story? And addendum, have you used and are you using your own deck in readings?
Great question. Okay, before I answer that, there was something I wanted to
I was spoken
touch
like a true.
on.
So I'm a Pisces. So dear Gemini, You continue your train of thought, and I'll try not to throw you off.
No, it's beautiful. I think yeah, as far as like, had anyone done it before, and just creating this, birthing the baby has been a huge, and just like the Empress in tarot for anyone who is familiar, and just like this birthing and this creation. I many times, I don't want to sound like, oh yes, I had this vision, and then here's the deck. I can't tell you how many times to my fiance I was like, I'm just gonna make this for myself, and no one's ever gonna see it because they don't need to see it. And but it was just like this, self-doubt. Like, can I? Will it happen? Instead of just allowing it to happen. And so we eventually got here, but I don't want it to seem like it just came out of, thin air and then bada boom, bada bing, there it is. So
There's a
and just
baby. How'd
several,
that go?
several, yeah, it's like there was 9 months of labor and pain and then beautiful life. So, but then to, oh dear, that was my answer, and I already forgot your question. Oh, so I am a professional tarot reader. Um,
Yay.
you can check me out. I'm on Instagram, melliestarot.com. I started just before, let's see, January 2020. So I was geared up and ready to do readings in person, and then the world had different plans.
Yeah.
And so I've primarily just been doing virtual sessions, which I hadn't anticipated doing, and it's been so beautiful connecting with people all over the world. I came across you, I believe, at the World of Divination Association's tarot conference, or was it a tarot conference
So
or?
the World Divination, yes, they did an online class. They've done like three in the last 18 months.
Yeah,
I think I've only not participated in one. We just had one over the weekend too. But I also did Tarot-thon through the Hermit's Cave, which is 24 hours of people throwing from one tarot channel to another. So I've done a couple, but I think it was probably WDA.
yeah, that's the one. And as far as my readings, I mostly use tarot decks. I have used my deck a few times, and I'm always shy because it just seems like I'm trying to like plug, like, oh, and here's my deck, and you can buy my deck, and that's not the goal. But it's typically I'll do like a 30-minute session. That's my standard session time, and then at the end, it's like a send off affirmation or blessing. Do an oracle card, and so I've used this deck a few times, and I'm starting to get more comfortable and realize just how integrated and interconnected it is with me, and how that can actually, once I remove myself from that picture, realizing how much more that can help the person that is seeking guidance in a
Yeah.
reading.
Cool. Well, I tell you, I want to do it. Like I said, I want this to be a little bit of a walkthrough because I want people to see these, and we won't belabor a lot of it, and I won't put you to the pressure, but there are 32 of them, and I want to start working through them. So if I pronounce something wrong, you let me know. So I believe this is stave.
Yep, that is
So
stave.
what is stave? What does it mean to you? And it doesn't have to be your textbook or interpretation.
Yeah, so stave or staff, which is maybe the more common term, is the 5 lines that you see if you see like a piece of music, which is there, and also like on the background, you can kind of see that. And that's sort of like if you're a painter, the blank canvas for which you to put your paints or your drawings. And so if you're a musician, or like a blank sheet of paper if you're about to write a letter.
See, oh my God. See, this is what this is doing for me. Because I'm thinking, okay, first of all, I wouldn't think it was like the staff, the music staff, I guess, is that what it is, or stave?
Hmm.
But the moment you start saying it's like the blank canvas, I'm like, holy crap, yes.
Yeah, it's
And
it's a blank canvas made of lines.
oh, I mean, it's like if I did a reading for someone and I said, let me pull an oracle card from the Ostinato Oracle. What does Spirit need you to do right now? It needs you to start over with a blank slate, clear everything, and it's just like, this is what I love about this. It's just, it's singularly powerful. That just came to me, but that's what this, I feel like. Um, and then time.
Time. So that is in music, or like if, when you hear someone say 5, 6, 7, 8 to dance, or 1, 2, 3, 4. So just giving you the time, like what's the rhythm? Where are we? Like, what is the pulse of whatever we're hearing? So
Could you say
finding your rhythm.
could you say like the tempo too, or would that be something different?
Tempo and time are related.
Okay.
Um, time, it starts getting a little bit more complex, but essentially time is just giving you like the which we'll get into once we see like other signs, but or other signs. This isn't astrology. Other cards is just it gives you kind of like the each measure. So there's like if you like push in the card a little bit. Oh, I have a card right here. This is a different card, but you can see there's like these little like lines separating, and so time kind of tells you how much stuff is going to fit in between those little lines. So, and it kind of helps you understand what the rhythm is. Like a waltz feels a certain way.
Okay.
Um, and so time is just really about what's the rhythm like and tempo, or did you say tempo
Yeah,
as the other? Yeah, tempo is more like how fast is the time
like
or
the
how
beats per
slow
minute or
is it?
something. Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then this is key. So
Yeah, so
what were
songs that are too high, you can't sing them right. It's in the wrong key, so you got to kind of bring it down. So everyone kind of has like their own comfortable pitch level, right? Of what songs they can sing, notes you can't hit. And so it's just every song is written in a certain key, and you can kind of depart from it, but traditionally you always want to kind of arrive back at your original key. So in terms of an oracle, like how can you find your center again? What,
oh,
what is your home? What does home feel like to you?
maybe
What
a
makes you
true self,
feel at
maybe a true self,
home?
true nature. Okay.
Yeah,
Now is that the flat and the sharp connected? Is that what the key looks like? Or
that
okay,
is, yeah.
okay.
That is actually not an actual musical symbol. That is a blend of the flat symbol in music and the sharp symbol
I love
in
it.
music.
So I remember a little bit, and I knew this one, treble, the treble clef, right?
Yes,
No, treble.
yeah, that's perfect. Yep.
So
Treble,
I forget what was it? Is it the treble or bass? Are those the two separate ones? No.
yes, yeah. You're
And
For someone who hasn't done music in a while, you are crushing this.
but I can't remember what's the difference because almost every instrument I ever played was in treble versus bass. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so treble is higher pitch, so like my voice is in like a treble versus like bass that's much more deep.
Gotcha.
And when you're playing with the radio knobs, you can kind of adjust the treble and adjust the bass. So treble's oracle property title is take the high road,
Mm.
the higher
Oh,
pitch,
this is what I
and
love.
just
And I
vantage
have
point.
and I have to say, Gerald says I can't decide if I get my fiance a copy or I get myself one too. So maybe you both get one, maybe get one for each. And then
You can
here's the
share.
bass. So yeah, because I played in sixth grade, which would have been, like 40 years ago or 42 years ago, violin. Then I went to trumpet, and I didn't like the trumpet group because they were snotty guys. And then I joined the mellophone, which was marching French horn, and we got into a lot of trouble together. So that was that was kind of my last place I did. So I don't remember having like a lot of music in like bass, I guess you would say. Is that right? Because the instruments I played were more high in the place.
Yeah. And fun fact, perhaps. So I played French horn. So, and I also did the mellophone during marching band.
Oh my gosh.
uh,
It was
but
such
the
a
bass,
tiny mouthpiece. Oh my gosh, going from a trumpet
so
to that.
tiny. um, but yeah, the bass is the lower notes. So really getting down in there, getting into the depths of a situation or a thought, those low places. And we don't always like to go there.
Could this come up if shadow work was needed, maybe?
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love it. Hey Jen Science.
I love how the sun is like right here. Should have closed the blinds, but can you
So,
still see my face
oh yeah,
okay?
you're perfect. There's a nice
Okay.
glow. I thought you did it on purpose for the card. So Gerald at Terra Stash, she said I ordered him a copy for his birthday already. You already ordered one?
Oh, that's such a sweet birthday gift. I can't wait to get it out to the
So
recipient.
mail in NP in parents. Let me see, or I think I'm looking at it wrong. I think I put. Um, so yeah, so um, mellieterrace.com and ostinatoracle.com. In the notes below is where they can find these. So yes, you can get the deck there. So if you're not figuring it out, this is it, because I know some of you have come in late. This is the Ostinato Oracle, 32 card Oracle card inspired by music. We're going through them. This one I love, and I want to hear your interpretation on this. Did anybody else pop
Okay.
in? So this one is simply note. Oh, before I forget it. So this is number 6. How, I think you know me by now that I love numbers. So were the numbers chosen specifically, or how were the numbers in your world when you created this?
Yeah, they were not specifically, there was a specific order, but in terms of like incorporating numerology or anything like that,
Okay.
there was not. The first 8 I would consider like the big major portion of like this is like kind of your baseline for if you wanted to throw together your life's music. And then 9 through 32 is really what adds the harmonic levels to that and the complexities.
And I just realized 32 is 4 sets of 8. And for me as a group fitness instructor, that's what you teach well, now they're teaching more with the actual rhythm of music with not full phrases and things. I don't know the terminology, but in the olden days it was like 32 count phrase was what we taught with. And I love that there's 30. I'm just realizing there's 32 cards.
Yeah, there were some other different number things that came through, but it just seemed like from the beginning,
I had
it
to
was
look
going
at
to
the
be
word.
32 cards.
So is this
So that
accolade?
it is, or accolade. It's also a brace. Brace is not as beautiful of a word, I don't think. And this is in music. So you have your stave, right? Like all the lines that are there. You have, the timing, you have the key, you have the treble, you have the bass, um, note making your mark. And then accolade is really what like helps bridge and tie all of that together. So it kind of like embraces the high, it embraces the low, and it just lets you know like all of that can be simultaneously existing at the same time, and it actually needs to be. So that's card number 7.
And then this is bar. And that's
Yes.
like, is that what separates like a count of like 4/4 or something? So what do you call that?
Yes. So this helps separate the timing. And so with that, instead of just like endless notes going on, if you were trying to read music, just like a sentence with periods or exclamation points, you need that division. So the bar is for boundaries. Like where can you create boundaries? How can you have better boundaries? Where do you have too many boundaries? That kind of
So
thing.
boundaries might be a key kind of word or phrase. So like if you're like, hey, let's pull one card from the oracle, it's kind of like a little spiritual message. This may be, where are your boundaries? Where are you? Maybe for me immediately, I think also one thing I have a challenge with that has saved my life in the last couple of years is chunking things down. In other words, like you said, if you have just music going on forever and ever and ever, well, this way I can say, okay, I've got 20 things to do. Which is the most important? Go with that one, chunk it down. Okay, I'm done with that. Next one.
Exactly.
And then I know this one, sharp.
Yeah. So sharp is where it takes a pitch just slightly higher if we're talking music. So ba, it elevates a little bit. So just goes slightly up. So in an oracle property, where can you rise up? Where can you
Mm,
elevate others, depending on the context.
beautiful. And Jen, yes, Jen said, what a beautiful concept for a deck. Jen, I don't know if you're here in the beginning, but go back and watch me. I gushed for like 10 minutes on how just I was watching this unfold on Instagram and just falling in love with it. And then I wouldn't say is this opposite of sharp, flat, or just
It 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 is actually. So flat would just it goes down. So ba, right? So you hear the tone kind of shift a little bit down. So where can you and in music they're called steps. So taking a step back, where can I kind of shift back a little bit? And from these different places, we gain different perspectives and learn something about ourselves, learn something about other people. based on where we were coming back, which leads us to natural, which is the next card.
Da, da, da.
So if a note in music was modified by like, hey, we're going to go slightly up on this one, we're going to go slightly down in this one. Eventually, if you got to come back to your original state. So this is just a card of returning to a more natural state. You've taken a step back, you've seen that perspective, you've been elevated, but what similar, I guess, to your home base, but where you're meant to be after gaining those different perspectives.
Yeah, and it's so weird. I keep looking at this symbol, and it's just such a beautiful symbol, and it could be the symmetry of it for me, kind of a thing. Oh my
I do
gosh.
love that symbol too, for those reasons.
Fermata?
So a fermata, yes,
Fermata.
absolutely.
Is that like a pause or a rest? No.
It's close. So a fermata is placed over a note, and it creates it sustains it. So if it's only supposed to go on
Sustain.
for a certain amount of time, it continues on. And so, if you imagine someone humming the longest note and never moving from it, at some point it's going to catch your attention, and you're really listening and hanging on. You might want to be moving forward. You might want to be relishing in that moment and that closure. And so how, what are you being called to listen to in those moments, before it's time to move on and to hear new things?
Wow. That's like pause. That's almost like hangman. No,
Yeah, close.
maybe a little hangman energy there.
Yeah,
And then this one I do remember. Is it staccato? Yeah, staccato.
it is. Yeah.
This is
Um, Staccato is if you have a note that's supposed to be a certain length, and it cuts it off. Like if bop, 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 it kind of, you're getting what you get and you're not getting any more. So
yeah,
favor brevity. This is
brevity.
the opposite of that, but going on and on and on, like maybe you don't need to do that. You just need to say staccato is favor brevity. Be short, be sweet, move on.
Oh, I love it. And then tenuto.
Tenuto being the other side of that, is allowing for full value. So it's like
Ooh.
if you were to fill up a cup and you're just like right to the brim before it spills over, and just letting, sitting in that fullness of
Mm.
maybe a moment, or if applicable to a listening conversation, just really really taking the most out of that experience. Or for people on this
This is me
YouTube.
right now. This is me right now. I'm literally just like listening to you. This is so I'm like I'm just gonna listen to you talk. So my my lighting is bad underneath my desk. Mercuto,
Mercado.
Mercado.
Mercado. Yes. So this is kind of like an accent, which but it's a more intense accent. Accent. So this just like very intentional, passionate. This is this word. This is this note. So in an oracle setting, again, on a broader basis of, how can I be more intentional, and be direct, and um, and you can't be shy with an accent. You have to be
Yeah,
all in on an accent. So Mercado, just very deliberate and very intentional.
I love it. And Joe said, I feel like staccato would apply to most of my email habits. Both you're emailing like
Same.
people text message as short and sweet as they can. Oh, now this I remember seeing this one and think, oh my gosh, Trill.
Trill. So a trill, yeah, a trill is like when one would go alternating notes like die, I. And imagine just if that were to continue, that it's a bit of an agitator. It can be exciting at first, but then exciting can also be what? Anxiety, stress, panic. And so when this card comes up, it's like, what's causing you anxiety? How can you find ways to calm down? As an anxious person, I find this card comes up a lot for myself. So
Yeah.
just
Do you think
calming
this
the
do you think
waters,
it
really.
Do you think it might ever come up for like maybe someone or a child who might be like a little ADHD where they're all over the place and just don't know how to focus on something? Because this back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and this is turn.
Turn. So this is one of my favorite symbols. It's a fancy trill where you go a little up and then a little down, a little up and it has a little bit of a pattern, but just simplified with this little swirl. So it's like a little sonic dance that happens
Mm.
in music. And
Is it
so
like Whitney Houston singing all over the place?
it can be definitely the Whitney Houston. And just, in those kinds of moments, I picture it almost, I don't know if anyone's ever been dancing, like you just kind of getting spun around the dance floor. You just follow the lead. You just lean into the dance and you feel it and you go with it. And obviously you can't be spinning around forever. You might spin out.
Yeah,
But also you can be too restrictive and not let yourself just spin. So
yeah.
feeling the dance, feeling it in your intuition and how to move.
So glissando.
Glissando, you are 1,000% great on all of these
Oh
pronunciations.
my
Do not
gosh.
be shy about them. Glissando, or shortened is just gliss, is where you go from one note, really low, to another note, say high, just for illustrative purposes, and then you kind of touch on all the ones in between.
Wow. So
And
this is Whitney Houston at the end of I Will Always Love You.
yeah, it's a very dramatic, like, hello, if you weren't already listening, you sure are now, kind of
Oh,
musical notation. So shine like Whitney,
oh. And
shine
then
like
forte.
anyone. Forte, loud, speak up, use your voice, be loud. Or, are you being too loud?
Yeah.
Can you bring it down? Um, and so it just depends on the situation and the
So if you get
application and the questions.
if you got forte and staccato at the same time, say your piece and get out of there quick.
Get out of here.
All right, and this is piano, which I remember
Piano.
this is soft, right? Like really soft and
Yes,
gentle.
very gentle. Be gentle is if the short guide of quick
Mm,
chords. And yeah, there's not it softness doesn't mean not powerful. And sometimes we can, the greatest moments in music are those times when everything gets really quiet. And that's when we're listening the closest.
yeah.
So
Mm. All right, and mezzo,
mezzo
like
is
high.
so mezzo can be placed in traditional music, um, in front of piano or in front of forte. It's like a little bit is the term. So like mezzo forte is like loud but not too loud. Mezzo piano is like a little louder than quiet. So mezzo is like a more moderate
Okay.
positioning of sound. So this card is all about moderation. Where can you find moderation? Are you out of balance? Um, and how can you kind of, you know, be loud but not too loud, be quiet but not too
Yeah.
quiet, and whatever the situation may call for moderation. Are you eating 47 cookies for breakfast and is that needed right now, or or is that all you have? So those kinds of things.
And this one I definitely remember, Crescendo, and it's a gradual increase of volume.
Yes, it is indeed. And the crescendo is like a blossoming flower.
Yeah.
So just bursting forth you know, with sound, but also like in our life, like where are you getting to blossom and grow, and how can you nourish yourself and water into being that full flower.
Wow. Oh, I love it. And then this would be the opposite, diminuendo,
Very close. Diminuendo
dimin, dim,
or dim, diminuendo.
dimin,
Dim
di,
in you and do.
diminuendo, diminuendo. I
There
remember
it is.
it.
Perfect. And this is just fade with grace. So sometimes we just need to exit, but it's not just like an abrupt stop. You just kind of slowly
This
moonwalk out or
this is me at basically every party I've ever been to. Is
yeah.
I don't go around saying goodbye to everybody because then it takes you another hour once they know you're about to leave. I just leave. Nobody even knows I'm gone. They're like next day they're like, when did you leave? I said goodbye to you. You don't remember? I'm like, no, I don't
You were
remember.
so graceful.
Just fade with grace. All right. Why do I fade with grace? Why do I diminuendo? Because I need to rest.
Yes, rest. Find stillness, find rest. In tarot, this will be closely associated with like the Four of Swords.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
take and what's beautiful in music is, you know, and you might have a lot of different people playing all at once, and it's not everyone needs to be on all the time. So you get to take your rest, and there's power in those rests. That's what helps
mm.
shape the larger harmonic work, symphonic, piece, or even just like those moments of silence in music where you're left like wanting more.
Oh, I remember this one too. I always used to think it was like the dividing by side, but repeat.
Yeah.
Do it
Repeat.
again.
So this is just yeah, repeat, repeat, repeat. And
Should I go out
re
on a date with him again? Yes.
hey, I
Repeat.
love this is what's so beautiful about oracle cards is just the amount of um interpretations and messages that they can convey. And I think that's just as like a side note to the going over each card is I was an active participant in creating this deck, but now it's out there in the world for you personally and for other people, and what that would look like in their own practice could be completely different. But yes, repeat is about identifying cycles. Oh, I've seen this before, or should I go out with them again? Yes. Or
I love it.
am I going out with this guy and is he a lot like the one before, and why am I making those choices?
Repeat.
And yeah.
And Gerald said, makes rest makes us desire what comes next. I love that. And then dun 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 tie.
Tie. So a tie or a connection. So evaluating your connections. You and I are tied here together, and is that a good relationship? Is that a healthy one? Or,
Collaboration.
yeah. So how can we be connected? What types of things are we connected to that we, shouldn't be connected to? And so just it's an invitation to understand connections and what that means in any given situation.
I love that it looks like a smiley face, and
It does.
I'm thinking back to oh, I'm trying to find it. So thinking back to a Fermata, like if these two came together, it looks like an eye, like an
Oh
all
my
seeing
goodness.
like an all seeing
It
eye.
does.
If you
Yeah.
like if you put them on top of each other, which is kind of cool. So,
Yeah, and just like staying together in that connection, that would be a very affirming dual pool.
and did I mention the size of the deck? I love the size of this deck because they're not like as big as playing cards, but I love they're just, and of course they're they're rectangle, but they're not as tall as a lot of cards are. This kind
Yeah.
of reminds me of what a lot of Lenormand decks are, which is more of a it's Lenormand, not Oracle, but yeah. So and that
Yeah,
one,
it
that's the
is the
word
same. I
tacit.
have a lot of tarot decks, and I didn't have a lot of oracle decks, but I do like when I do the tarot spread to have like the smaller little cards, and also I have very small hands. So that's honestly where that decision came from.
Well,
Was when I could just
I said that one
throw it in
time
my
with
purse.
Rana George and her deck. This deck is very small and I really love it. And I said, it's probably because she has small hands. Well, she saw it on me. She goes, Mitchell, that's the typical size of a Lenormand deck. I was like, sorry, Rana.
Oh, I
So
love it.
tacit,
Tacit. Yes.
tacit. No
So a
idea.
tacit.
It
Yeah.
looks like a
So if
bed in a prison.
oh my goodness. Let's see how that connects. So the tacit is it's when other people are playing a part or singing, and like you're not supposed to, it's like a really long rest. Like you're
Oh,
just gonna sit this out for a good 2 minutes, And you just that this is like it's not just rest, it's like don't even engage. So if you're like, oh, how should I approach my boss about this situation? It's like it might not even be worth your time.
So maybe this is
Um,
hangman.
yeah. Yeah, wait this one out for a bit until it's time. This would be more hanged
Oh,
man for sure.
love it. All right. And, oh, okay. Let me see if I can. Kasura?
Ooh, I like the way you say it better. Shazura is
Shizura.
a Shazura, which it looks like Caesara, but
Yeah, I have
so
no idea what this is.
so the other like common term of saying it is called railroad tracks because it looks like little railroad tracks.
Okay.
And now I can't even say it. A caesura is if you have like a piece of music going, right, and it's like intense and it's loud, one of these might get thrown in there. It's like a wrench. It just everything halts and it's not like quite when you were expecting it to. So it's a really abrupt stop. You're like, but we were trucking along, we were going. Oh my gosh, what just happened? We just hit a brick wall. And so this is a strong wake up call card of like,
Wow.
hold up. What are you not seeing in the big picture that you need to look at right now?
Wow. This is, this, you know what, as you say that, I'm all, tower is often like big wake up call, but it's often associated with like crumbling, rearranging. But this one could be almost without that. It's like you saw somebody else's. It's like you're walking home to your house and somebody else's house gets zapped with lightning, and you're like, okay, maybe I better pay attention.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the tower before the collapse and you get a chance to, then decide what you're going to do about that.
Wow.
Um,
Oh, I love it. And I remember this, but I have no idea. Umbasa?
yeah, so Obasa, it's just that's really my own shorthand of Ottava Basa, or 8VB, I guess is how it's written. But Obasa is so in music, if you go an octave lower, um, and in musical notation, you only have so many lines, and so if you need it to go way way lower, you don't want to have to just like keep drawing lines, 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 lines.
Right.
So this will be written in to let you know it's actually one octave, or like a certain measurement of sound lower than what's written on the
Ooh.
page. So this card, in an oracle sense, is about getting grounded and
Oh,
really, the visual of like and like closing your eyes, imagining roots in your feet going into the earth and just those deeper, deeper places that you can't visually see.
wow. Deep, deep, deep. I love it. And then this must be the opposite. Oh, alta?
Yes,
I know alta is like
Ottava.
high.
Yeah, Ottava Alta. So this, if it was put over, it would ask you can't write so many lines up. So it's an octave or just a certain amount of notes and sound, a measurement higher, with the oracle property of raising your vibration, like
Wow.
high vibe, high vibe, low vibe. But so even though the words are opposites, Ottava Bassa and Ottava Alta, it doesn't necessarily mean that the card descriptions themselves are complete opposites. So, how can you raise your vibration? What things are affecting that and impacting that? Why is that? What work is there to be done in that area?
Oh, wow. Man, I'm loving this. I really am. And then Coda, I remember this, but I can't remember what it was for. It was like the ending or not quite, or jump to an ending or something.
Yeah, wow. You remember a lot from sixth grade. My
I
goodness.
can't believe it. Trust me.
I went to college for music and I still don't remember most of the things. So, wow. So the coda is, yes, just like you said, it's like at the end. And sometimes in music, it might be like, oh, hey, go back to this part before we eventually do get to the end. So you might kind of like approach the end and then you get to go back and like do some more stuff. But then ultimately it's like, okay, but it's time to wrap this up now. The song is almost over. And so in an oracle property, it would be about accepting endings and just knowing that things come to an
Oh,
end. But then with endings come what? New beginnings.
yeah.
So
And it's got a little like world energy, like the circle, and then with the it's it's got 4 points, like the four I forget, like the
In
four
the
books of the
compass?
Bible. There's so many
Oh,
different
oh,
ways of
oh,
looking
you
at
mean in the
the
world?
world.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And hey, Kristen, welcome, welcome. So, and the final card, which is Ostinato. Oh my gosh.
Ostinato.
This is one of my questions. Like, what is it? Oh, is it just the deck name, or but obviously it means something. So,
Yeah, so the ostinato is just about remaining open. And this deck really is about being open to hearing, to receiving, much like when we experience music, even if you don't like a certain song or, but what do you have to learn and what do you have to hear? And then how does that help shape who you are and your place in this world and the song that you're writing, and the music that you're making with your existence, and how does that blend with the songs that other people are, we're all like
yeah.
co-creators in this, in life and our interactions. But to answer your question, so an ostinato is a repeating theme,
Mm,
and it's like it's an
I'm
underlying device.
I'm so getting like because when you said something about like I don't know, you said something just a moment ago. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is like the Fool card because it's card 0, and the Fool, a lot of people believe is the literally the repeating theme through all the major arcana.
Well, and some of these things that you're saying, I didn't consciously ponder them, but they're 100% accurate. But it would also make
Wow,
sense just given, prior to this, just my deep studies and love of tarot and
wow.
astrology and other tools like that. So yeah, the ostinato is like an underlying recurring themes, and it can be, there's some patterns, and if anyone is like a music theorist listening to this, forgive me, okay? But yeah, these repeating themes throughout. So, and when I do a reading, I always like to do like if in like a tarot deck, like the underneath card. And so I would call that the ostinato, like what's the underlying theme
Ooh,
of this. And so ostinato oracle is, when people say like, oh, if you walked into a room, what would the sound like? What theme music would be playing, or what's the soundtrack of your life? And just when we're living and when we're being, that it's like a song in itself. So that's where that comes from.
cool. And
That's 142.
Joe said this would be a good deck for people learning to study music. So, hey, Lori, welcome, welcome. You made
Yeah,
it.
and it is, as far as, so there is just a deck, and then there's a guidebook that says like, here's how this works, and here's an oracle property. But I want anyone who's listening who might be like, oh, I don't know much about music, you definitely don't have to. And the symbols, speak for themselves, and if they don't, then I mean, it's just like earlier we were saying, the blank canvas. You get
Yeah.
to paint whatever, your artwork is with the deck, and that's what it's meant to be for. And it's all about creation, so what you get to create and what you get to
Yeah.
experience, or if you read for others, what you get to help them see and help them hear. It's all about listening and moving
And
forward.
so if somebody, I can't, just forgive me for not remembering this part, but you said the guidebook. So is it a digital or electronic guidebook or okay?
So there's two options. If you're someone who likes a physical book, there is a bigger book. Um,
Ooh,
so you can, well, it's very
it is
glossy,
glorious too.
but
Look at it. Oh my gosh.
so I just, sometimes it's nice to have something in hand, but you can also just use the deck, and there is a PDF guidebook. And if you're like, oh, this is interesting, the PDF is downloadable on, my website if you want to just check it out. And I know for myself, I've had decks where I had um, just the deck, and then the PDF was really helpful. Or if like it was in my purse, I could just like look it up online.
Yeah.
Um, or if you want to read the book. So the goal is to make it more accessible for anyone, because you might not always want to pay for the book if you're on a limited budget or it just doesn't meet your needs, etc. So
Cool. Well, as we're kind of coming to a close, because I looked up and it was like it's 7:52. I can't.
I know
I
we
can't believe it.
talked a lot.
This is no. This is beautiful though. But I just want to once again show you guys. It comes in a nice little box. There's something on the back. I'm not going to read it because I can't see that far right now with my eye. I'm 55. But gorgeous, gorgeous, just so elegant. I'm saying all this comes. I hope this is how it still comes because I know this is Kickstarter. So it came in a beautiful bag. There's a quick reference to all 32 here, which for me, this is going to be amazing. And then if you were here at the beginning, there's a little envelope, and inside the envelope is a pic with the name on it.
That was
So,
for the Kickstarter
so
backers,
Kickstarter
but
only.
I do have some extra picks. So if anyone wants some picks, we'll
So
have those.
whoever bought one tonight, you have to remember their name. So Gerald, I think you bought one for your husband, fiance. For birthday present. So yeah, so but I tell you, you know, I gushed so much tonight, and as you spoke about, I don't. It's got to be the music connection. Like I said, I played some instruments. I didn't like to practice, so that's why it wasn't always fun for me. Practice is so hard, but
It is.
music for me is so just. You know, music saved my life. I mean, it really did. I mean, I could go back and say, you know, if I ever met Annie Lennox, I would give her a hug and I would say, I'm probably still alive because of you. She's like my pinnacle of all kind of, but like that 80s Euro pop music just kept me alive. And, you know, and I love things, you know, if it has about 128 beats per minute or more, I'm into it because I like kind of fast dance music.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, if the DJ gets a hold of it, I'm good. But and that could be why I'm just loving this so much. And how did I say it earlier? Singularly succinct because it's a single image, but yet it's so vast in what it can be because what it means within the realms of music and like how you elaborated on them, I was like, this is just glorious to watch and I'm very excited to be able to utilize this. And, you know, as I think I might have said this to you one time, I kept saying, I can see this as being, like you said, you do a tarot reading and then let's see what the oracle has to say. It's like this cherry on top or this underlying thing, you know, what's going on. So as we're kind of coming to a close, if anybody has any questions for Mellie, let's see. Oh my God, Mellie has a playlist that gets updated every week on her website. So you have a playlist that gets updated?
So I do have a playlist. It's not updated every week, but I would definitely love to get to a place where I could do that. Maybe once TBD on that. But there is a playlist of different songs for if you're, you know, looking for inspiration that you can listen to while you're doing the reading, your readings. Songs that inspired the deck and that were playing like while things were coming together, and just they create a nice, lovely atmosphere.
Yay. So let's see. So Gerald at Tarot Stash said, I want to pick in capital letters. Jen said,
We're getting a
absolutely,
pick.
absolutely stunning deck. Congratulations, Melly, sending loads of love, loads of love. And that's probably very British or Australian. Gerald loves Annie Lennox as well. Scott saying hi to Lori. And then, of course, Gerald said, you have the update. Let's see. Oh, your chat. Lori says my chat keeps disappearing. Sorry, Lori. So, if no final questions, I just want to thank you, Mellie, from the bottom of my heart for hanging out with me and going through this deck. It was a little selfish because I literally wanted to hear what you had to say about each card, but I also wanted to share it because I am just enamored by this deck, and I hope that it takes you and it journeys, you know, some far and beautiful places around this globe for a long, long, long time. Because it is just, again, I don't know if it's a color palette, but it's so elegant and so, this, again, singularly simplistic and powerful to me. So just thank you, thank you, thank you for bringing this baby to life.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad we're connected, and thank you to everyone who is watching this now and in the future. And music is we all listen to music, whether it's in the car or on the radio, and like you were saying, Mitchell, how music literally saves
Yeah.
lives. And it's just so much a part of who we are and in our existence in this world. So if this deck finds its way to you, my wish and hope is that it can help with those transformations, big and small. And I love you all so much, and I love you, Mitchell. Thank you so much for
Yay,
having
thank
me
you, thank
on.
you. And Gerald said, thank you for bringing this to my attention. You're welcome. Yes, music is life, Lori. So also the Ostinato Oracle on Instagram, correct? It's the whole thing. The
Now you have me.
no,
Correct. I think it's just Ostinato
Os-
Oracle. Let me just keep
Ostinato
that.
Oracle on Instagram.
Yeah.
So check that out. Scott, Mellie, you are amazing. Scott loves you, and Scott is Scorpio Moon Tarot. Let's see.
Oh, I'm a
There will be
Scorpio
a
rising.
so Gerald at Tarot Stash says there will be a flip through on my channel after Jeffrey's birthday. So he'll do a flip through as well. I love it.
Awesome. I'll
So
keep an eye out.
all right, everybody. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, and look in the notes below. Once this gets put up on YouTube, you can see, where to get a hold of Mellie and this gorgeous, gorgeous, elegant deck. So thank you so much for being here tonight, and bye, everybody.